Wait.
As mean as I... Okay. That is mostly me being a fool on purpose. That's not to say that I'm not still a freak, but I have an explanation now. You're a worthy endeavor. Pastoralizing? That is milk, isn't it? Pasteurizing. Ready? Rolling. Alright, people. God, I can never put this hat on straight. My sense of direction is all screwed up. Alright, people, we are finally heading out. I'm packing up my stuff, I'm getting my keys, and we're going. I was making, a typical birthday Instagram post, and the site decided it wanted to go down and, just have a time. Hold on a second. You're going down there. That's what she said. So, we're going to go to town, and I'm going to need to get some gas before I go home, but... yeah, I'm back behind the wheel again. Tell your mom. So, I'm about to head out, and we're gonna go to town. Go by the record store, go by the bookstore, probably go by the coffee shop so I can pick up a little snacky snoo for lunch. I hate that I just said that, but we're here now. So, we're gonna go get some lunch, get some coffee, may just get some food, may not get some coffee. I don't know. Definitely going to the bookstore, definitely going to the record store. And just gonna have a good day. Well, actually, hold on. See you in a minute. We successfully made it to town. Did I park in the nearest available space to where I'm going? No, but that's because I'm back driving in, and I'm driving this big honkin' truck that is my mom's truck that used to be a race truck, so it's got a big block in it, and it's very light in the front end and very heavy. And fun fact, my first time that I spun on gravel was in this truck, so... and also I'm still getting back into the swing of driving and just like getting used to a new vehicle. It's nothing I can't handle. I have driven this truck before. It's just that I've been driving my car and the El Camino for so long that I haven't driven this truck. And so, my goodness, the lighting. So it went well. I wasn't like super, people were like, oh, are you scared to drive again? No, I'm not. A little bit nervous. It's not so nervous as to drive so much as just like, making sure I learn, relearn, okay, new vehicle, how hard do I have to apply the brakes, how sensitive is the gas. That's what I was nervous about, and even then, it's not much, because I've driven this before, and it's been sitting up for a while, so, just like that kind of stuff, and not actually nervous to drive. I don't have that. I understand where people come from, and it's very, very sweet of them to be concerned, but, I don't have that. We made it. Yay! I'm gonna get out of this hot truck. Because I don't think it has air conditioning, so I had 260 air. Promise, I'm not...
Wait.
As mean as I... Okay. Aggressive. I'm not as mean as I look. I'm wearing lighter colors today. Promise I'm not as bulldog as my attitude or aesthetic made me seem. I promise I'm very much nicer than my looks probably give off because, harmful metalhead stereotypes. It's so empty here today. It's almost kind of weird. I don't feel weird vlogging myself because, there's pretty much no one out here. Birthday gift? I heard dog. Dog. That's riptide colored.
I know.
That's fine.
I'll make the little man in the riptide holler and help me.
Mr. Rod still smells cake. Don't you, boy? Don't you, boy?
Thought was right. The bill comes due. Don't you see?
I tried to film this earlier. I wanted to give a little talk, just generally talking about how I feel now that I've hit 25, now that I am 25, something that I never quite thought I would make it to, and I didn't want to make it too long. I just wanted to give a little self-reflection, retrospective. I was like, retrospective? Perspective? And I was trying to think, and it was just, it finally coalesced. It finally came together. It works here, and we finally got, ooh, let's never do that again. To the point, Chey. I didn't think I would ever get to 25. I'm gonna keep it $1.50. I didn't think I would make it this far. I am one of those, the stereotype, but if you want, one of those emo teenagers that was like, I probably won't make it past 25, and I've talked about it on various places on this channel. I think I probably went most in-depth into it in my Beartooth vlog, my Beartooth album release vlog, because that's when I got the tattoo kind of correlated to all this. But TLDR is basically, I had a bunch of stuff happen that warped my sense of mortality when I was very young, just tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. That went on, you know, 4 years, like, not 4 years, but like 4 years. But I guess I want to say something to be like, yeah, that happened, but also look at me, I made it. When I didn't think that I ever would, or that I could. It's not that I thought that it would be by my own decision, let's put it that way. I just thought, with my warped sense of things, that something was, you know, something might happen. I realized that life is fragile very early, and I was like, yeah, chances are I won't make it to 25. And it was just compounded by all the experiences that I had, just grew and grew over the years. I was talking to myself earlier about this in my room, and now I can't talk about it at all. What's wrong with me? I don't know. And I guess what feels so important about... I can't concentrate with this TV on. Hold on. The TV is on, and my ADHD is screaming. Stop it. Okay, that's better. I can only focus on one thing at a time. If my tummy is showing... Oh no, you don't want to see that. It's the only thing about wearing a button down. I wore this for an earlier skit that I just did. Don't worry about it. I think really why I wanted to make this kind of update and talk about this is to showcase that, like, hey, I may have had those thoughts and those feelings and that perspective, but regardless, I clearly made it. So if anyone is out there, I'm sure a lot of us has dealt with that. I'm sure a lot of us who are now 25 or older than 25, and you're like, yep, made it. Didn't think I would get here, but yep, I made it. And likewise, I know there's probably a ton of you out there who are under 25 who have that same thought process. Maybe it's not 25. Maybe for you it's 18. Maybe for you it's 23. Maybe for you it's 30. And I guess this is me just wanting to be like, hey, you can make it. And contrary to what you might think I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, oh, things are gonna get extremely better. Like, things are gonna be, you're gonna stop thinking that way, everything's gonna be perfect, you're gonna be perfectly okay. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you like that. Look at me. You think I'm gonna sit here and lie to your face like that? I got better things to lie to you about. I don't know you. I don't know you well enough to lie to you.
Look at my face. Look at my face.
I don't like you well enough to lie to you. So I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that things are gonna be perfectly okay, because things are gonna happen in life. Things are gonna suck. Hard times are gonna come, tough times are gonna come. If one good thing that all those years of warped perspective has taught me is tough things are gonna happen, and things may not be perfect, things are gonna go wrong, but oftentimes you'll be okay anyway. I know that okay is a pretty general term. It's subjective and relative to a lot of context and situations. So I guess you could say that when I say okay, I mean relative to how you may be feeling during that tough time. And it may take weeks, it may take months, it may even take years. But more than likely, a lot of the times, you'll be okay eventually. No, I did not say you'll be perfect. No one is ever perfect. Because like I said, tough times and hard times are gonna come. You're allowed to be sad. Newsflash. You're allowed to suffer. You're allowed to be sad. And no one should ever make you feel guilty for that. And if they do, tell me. They're wrong. Alright, so get to the point, Chey. What's the retrospective on being 25? You like my real tree camo pants? They're cozy. It feels weird. It feels very strange because I didn't think that I would make it, but honestly, I think the big shift in my perspective last year around When I Was Alive came out in October just really, really changed things for me after two tragedies that happened one after another last year. Don't get me wrong, I don't want you to think that I suddenly had this change in perspective of being excited about life and making the most of every minute and, you know, unis honest, like the moment I turned 25 and I was like, oh look, I made it! I have changed my mental outlook. No, this happened months ago and it has been a work in progress over years and months. and a lot of thinking and a lot of introspection. I had this shift in perspective of like, instead of being like, oh, I could be gone at any minute, to I'm gonna make the most of every minute. And then when I hit 25, being like, oh, I made it to the place that I never thought I might make it. I really am gonna make the most of every minute. I had already been having that shift in perspective towards that outlook, and then actually hitting 25 was like, oh. Because even though I was having that shift in perspective, it still felt kind of like a ticking down clock because in the back of my mind, when you live with something like that for years, for decades, and it starts coming up, you're like, even though your brain's like, yeah, it's fine. Like, we're no longer, like, you know, kind of dark and dreary. Like, we're like, hey, we're gonna make the most and live our lives to the fullest. But in the back of your head, it's like... So actually finally getting to 25 was like... Okay, yes. Like, it felt like actually being able to breathe. Especially considering what happened, like, 2 weeks right before I turned 25, which... compounded me feeling even more grateful for any time that I have and wanting to make the absolute most of it. It just felt like crossing a benchmark. Not crossing a finish line, but crossing a benchmark, because I don't know how much further the finish line is. But instead of anticipating it, I guess, in more of a unavoidable, this sucks, anxiety kind of way, now it's more just like, yeah, I know it's coming. So, you know what? I'm gonna live my life to the fullest until it gets there. It's not a carefree outlook, it's a caring outlook. It's caring about what life you have left, and not overly caring about the passing of time, but how you spend that time that is passing. I hope this is making sense. I'm hungry. I guess the big point is, like, now I'm just looking forward to the years. I don't think I'm gonna look at each year coming in as being like, well, this might be the last one. Now it is very much more of, oh hey, cool, another day, let's see what mischief we can get into now. Instead of seeing time as being like, I'm still here for the moment, I could be not at the next moment, I'm not expecting anything I don't have any expectations long term, because I never know what's going to happen from one minute to the next, which is why I say it's not dreading, it's just more of a buzzing, anxious acceptance, being like, I know it's gonna happen, I don't know when, but it's hard to make long-term plans for the future whenever you're like, well, that's gonna happen, I don't know when, I don't know why, the enemy music is playing from somewhere, but I don't see the mud crab anywhere. That kind of thing, that has now shifted into, I'm gonna do what I can, and make the most of my life until I can't. That's the universe's problem. And it feels pretty darn good, becoming more unhinged. But enough about that, because I probably made the point 20 different ways till Sunday, so we're just gonna chit-chat and sit a spell. Just talking more generally about hitting 25. It feels weird. I feel like I have learned a lot, and I am also ancient, but I'm also not. I think it's because I stay a kid at heart, and a lot of my ADHD, other possible neurospiciness, keeps me young. And I keep my joy about things, my happy ears moments when I freak out at music, and I stim at songs, and I just squeal and sometimes make sounds that sound like I'm barking, but I'm really not. I'm not barking. I think that keeps me young. I think just giving in to joy and just being unabashed about it has helped keep the spirit young, and I think that's probably more of what it's about, rather than trying to keep your face young or keep yourself young. I mean, that's your business. You do what you want to do. It's your body. It's your choice. But I think, to me, what I have found is that's important to me is keeping my spirit young. And I know I'm 25. I'm speaking like I'm freaking 60. But considering the life I have lived through, I feel like I'm 60. Every time you flip a card adds 25 years to your odometer. And Christine is quaking. Something that I've seen getting more traction on the internet, which is great, and getting more traction in our generation, which is even better, because we need to pass that along, which is just embracing what makes you, you, and if it's childish to others, like the whole, I may be cringe, but I am free thing, yeah, live your truth, man. The way I look at things, you're allowed to criticize, and you're allowed to analyze people's likes and beliefs and their taste and stuff like that, as long as you're not being a douche. Like, as long as they're not hurting anybody else or hurting themselves or, you know, all that stuff, let people live their lives, man. If they like to watch Teen Titans on repeat every single day, like, every single day, or if they're a Disney adult, That's their life. That's their money. Okay. And like I said, yes, you're allowed to criticize, and we're allowed to have discussions, and we're allowed to open the dialogue and discourse, but you can do that without being a jerk, you know? And I think we're slowly getting more accepting of that kind of stuff with the generations, and it's something that took me a long time to accept for myself, because growing up ADHD and neurospicy, whatever you want to put it, a lot of my interest were normal for my age, but my excitement about them wasn't. I mean, look at the way that I react about music now that I'm 25, like the way that I stem. I didn't know until a few years ago that it was stemming. I just thought I was a freak. That's not to say that I'm not still a freak, but I have an explanation now. I was gonna say I got rights. Match my freak. I got rights. And that goes to prove more of the example that I thought that I was a freak, and now that I don't. Or at least, I own it now. I don't look at it in the derogatory sense. And I think that has been a big factor to my happiness. Because I look at it as like, yeah, it may be weird to people, or, you know, whatever. People might be like, oh, isn't that a little childish? Like, the way that you scream at the way you get super excited about the way someone's voice goes up in, like, a bridge of a song or whatever. If they're getting mad about that, or, like, if they're actually getting disgusted or bothered by that, they're the one with the problem, not you. Yes, they're allowed to criticize, and yes, they're allowed to analyze, but if they are actually, like, full-on judging me for that, just because I'm like, oh, woo, I like that, and I'm just, like, being me, that's not a person that I want, like, around, in my vibe, in my environment, in my life. And it took me a long time, years, to get to that point, because I looked at it as me, there's something wrong with me. Because those were the people that I thought I wanted to be around, that I thought I wanted to be like, because of what they were achieving, what they were doing. Georgetown, I'm looking at you and your culture. I don't blame the school. It's the whole culture of the student, like, vibe when I was there. Just the prime example. We all know, if you go there, if you've been to a campus like that, you understand what I'm talking about. The whole pre-professional attitude crap. It sucks. It's a total vibe killer, man. Y'all would not be able to handle Chey now. I tell y'all that right now. And that's a damn good thing. Proud of me. But even in college, I was like, these are more the people I want to be like. And I want to make it clear, this is not me being like, those are awful people. Like, just because I don't want them around in my vibe or, like, my environment or my life, doesn't mean that they're bad people. They are people that will perfectly fit in to someone else's space, that will perfectly fit into their life and be like, peanut butter to their jelly, and that's great. I want the best for them. I want them to have that. But I'm very proud of me for being able to realize and being able to say, like, hey, that's not the kind of vibe I want to be around. Like, there are people that will love and accept me as I am, and of course, yes, I'm willing to accept constructive criticism and change and grow as a person, and I think you need people in your life that can challenge you in loving ways, not in toxic, like, harmful ways, of course. It took a long time, though, for me to get to that point to recognize those differences, to, I guess what they're calling it now is setting boundaries and protecting peace and all that. So I guess that's really what I learned, if you want to put it that way, TLDR. Not only setting boundaries, but the bigger part of that, which is embracing myself, no longer looking at it as cringe. And I still have moments where I'm like, oh my god, this is cringe. I mean, look at me. On this channel, me being like, oh, no one's ever gonna marry me. No one's ever gonna love me. Look, my accent's coming back out again. Hey, long time no see. I saw a post the other day that was like, you have no accent, them, and it had like a sentence to say on it, and I read it out loud. It was five bowls of boiling oil. I tried to say that in my Georgetown voice. And so I was like, 5 bowls of boiling oil. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, I still have moments where I'm like, that's cringe, no one's ever gonna love me, no one's ever gonna marry me. Please know that that is mostly in jest. That is mostly me being a fool on purpose. But I do still have moments where I'm like, in comparison to a lot of my friends who are in relationships or living parts of the lives that I would like to live, having success and stuff like that, it does still make me look at myself and be like, is there something about me that's wrong, that I'm not doing right, that I need to be more like them, something that I need to cut out and shrink more of me in? Because I spent so long of my life growing up, even as an adult, even in college, trying to squeeze myself in to fit in those spaces that I thought I wanted to be in, that I thought that I had to shrink myself in to be able to get to those places that those people were. And the thing is that truly, No, you don't have to. No matter what it may be. It may be for your career, it may be getting a certain relationship that you may want, whether friendship, romantic relationship, or business partnership. No, you don't have to. You don't have to get yourself down to bite-sized pieces. You don't have to get yourself smaller. You don't have to cut off pieces of yourself to fit into that space. Quite frankly, the people that think that you do can choke on them. You know? I just spent so many years, I feel like wasted so many years. That may be too harsh of a term, but I spent so many years in environments like Georgetown. I'm just using that as an example. But I think it really got to its peak at Georgetown because that's such a... It's not Georgetown itself, it's just the whole college environment, right? The whole pre-professional environment of the high pressure of being like, hey, you're an adult now, this is gonna, function as the gateway to the rest of your life. American education and perspectives on being an adult. Yay. Just be yourself. Straight up. That is what the TLDR of this is. Just be yourself. We're gonna take 20 this mother because I just want it to be over. I sure hope that the wind ain't gonna mess up the audio in this, because if it is, I'm gonna be upset. Editing Chey's gonna judge whether or not it sounds fucking terrible, you know? I kept trying to make a wrap up on my birthday video, but my phone kept running out of memory, kept running out of storage, even though I deleted like a million things from it. It was just like, you know what? No, actually, screw you. So I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I was going to sit down in front of my window, but I needed my vitamin D because I was in the house 8 hours just about yesterday. Felt like straight working on my California vlog. Trying to get all these backlogs of videos done. This is no exception. I don't even remember where I was in talking about my birthday because I got so freaking flustered with my phone keeping for filling up with storage, and see, that's how like frazzled it made my brain having to try to deal with all that. Number one, I'm glad to be around. Didn't think I was going to be around this long. I think I made that point abundantly clear in the little bits and splices that you've probably already seen. Because again, I forgot what I've already said. I'm just raw dogging filming this as an addendum, and then editing Chey is going to have to figure it out. Why do I do this to myself? I'm a mystery and a menace. And a couple of lessons that I've learned in life I think that I was trying to get across. I think it can pretty much be summed up as, I hope that you're living for yourself. Life's too short to not to. And before you go around me and being like, Chey, but what about in service to others? What about serving for others? Yes, I think you absolutely should, in what ways you can, help others, serve others, you know, volunteering, helping those less fortunate, within your means, within what you're able to do. Speaking of which, children, disgusting. But even if you choose to live your life as being a life of service, in a way, that's still living for yourself, because it's what you want to do. And that's really what I mean by that. Just please do what you want to do that is within your availability, within your means to do so. Life's too short to not to. And you really should just embrace every part of who you are, even if it takes forever to figure that out, because I don't think any of us ever fully figure out who we are, which is a good thing. Maybe that leaves you with some discomfort and some questions, but me personally, I think that's great because that allows me to always grow, always change, always evolve, and discover new parts of myself. And that's exciting to me. It's just a little puzzle. As frustrating and as anxiety-inducing as it can be sometimes, overall, I think it's a great attribute. I think it's a great trait. Keeps the mystery, keeps the fun, you know? And so I hope that you're constantly continuing to try and evolve and grow and question yourself and challenge yourself in ways that are happy and healthy, of course. There are ways to challenge yourself and to change in good, healthy ways. For instance, if you're able to, the number one thing I highly recommend to people in my small town when they're like, oh, you went off to Georgetown, you went off to, you know, do these great things. Yeah, that's all cool and great and all, but they want to know my advice, you know, and my main advice is get the hell out of town. And I don't mean that you have to leave your small town and your family and your friends behind forever. But what that does mean is that if it's within your means, if it's within your availability, I keep putting that disclaimer because I know that everyone's means and circumstances differ, and it's like, but I can't do that because of this and this and this. I get it. I truly do. But if available within your means, within your availability of whatever you have going on, get out of your hometown. I don't care if it's just moving the next town over. I don't care if it's just moving the next county over. Get out of your hometown. Get out. Leave. And it doesn't have to be forever. Just for a year. Just for 6 months. But go live somewhere else. Again, even just in the next town over. Even in the next... The people that you meet, the perspectives that you get that you wouldn't get in your place that you were, it's invaluable. It really is. And I know in some ways, like I said, that's coming from a place of relative privilege according to people's various means and stuff. But there are ways that you can get that sort of same experience, albeit to a different level, even if you can't move, even if you're stuck where you are. Seek out new places to go anyway. Seek out places around, even if you can't move to one place. If you're able, go to different places around that you may have never been before for various reasons. Maybe you didn't have the friend group. Go find new friends. Go learn different perspectives. Talk to people in coffee shops. You know, there are ways to widen your world within your smaller one, even if you're not able to go to a smaller world or go to a different small world, you know? That's my biggest advice, because that is honestly how you learn the most. Yeah, you can read all the books in the world, but to me, I think that people include some of the most valuable lessons and perspectives and circumstances that we could have ever dreamt up, because the people are the past, present, and future. You hear me, AI? So that being said, I hope you're living your life for yourself in as much as you're able to. I hope you're doing what makes you happy. I hope you're trying to find out what makes you happy. I hope you're trying to find out what makes you you, because anything else, me personally, what I've found in my 25 years is a waste of time. And generally what I've told my friends from Georgetown, or told my friends who went to similar high-standing universities or anything like that, who have kind of fell into the rut, you know, of this hellscape we call an economic situation of applying to jobs and, you know, never hearing back, even though you apply to like 500 of them. Whenever they're losing hope and things like that about like, well, how do I broaden this, or how do I do this, or I want some fun back in my life, I'm gonna give you the advice that I give them, or the perspective that I give them, because I think is relevant no matter the age. Honestly, the biggest developments in my life have come from when I did what I loved, when I followed what I loved, rather than doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And I may have already mentioned this earlier in the video, but I'm going to try and make it more succinct here. I went to college because, you know, thank goodness I had the opportunity. I got the scholarship. I got the means to be able to do so. First generation college student. So I went, and it was a part of my goal, a part of my dream at the time. But as those dreams change, I started changing my goals, of course. But there was a point in college where it felt like, okay, I don't know where my future is going forward. This is just a backup that I need to have because it's, you know, it's secondary education. I have the scholarship. I can't throw it away. I need to have a backup if these things don't work out, stuff like that, because they probably won't work out. But I found a lot of it was really just treading water and really going nowhere, walking just on a treadmill in water, right? Because my heart wasn't in it. It was just a safe space, which is fine, which is well and good. And if you need one of those, if you need a backup, you need safety. I'm not saying those are bad things and you should never do that. It's a waste of time. It's not what I'm saying. I totally get why they're there because I did it myself. I still have it. The difference is focus, because I noticed personally my progress came from when I followed things that I loved, when I did things that my heart and soul wanted to follow, such as writing articles for the radio station at my university, when I wrote articles about Beartooth, or I did album reviews from the music that they got sent in, when I took the internship that I did with a former museum curator and a photograph collector and archivist, when I decided to go see 21 Pilots on Halloween night instead of studying for my midterm the next day, you know? Okay, that last one I wouldn't recommend doing as a rule, but it felt right at the time, and I still stand by it, because I asked myself at that moment, I said, what am I going to remember in 20 years? Staying up all night cramming for an exam that I don't remember a lick of things from, or going to a concert by a band that I love on Halloween night. So I don't regret it. But I wouldn't say that kind of shifting of priorities as a general rule, college students. It's all about your personal perspective. But I stand by that my most personal growth moments, the moments that led me to the most development in my life, the most fulfillment in my life, is when I was following things that I loved, when I followed my heart and soul. Now, I still did things to have some responsibility, obviously. I didn't just go full hog in because I am terrified of that. I still had the horror that, like, I still need to have something as a backup. I can't just, you know, follow impulse alone. There's a balance. There's a balance. I think a lot of people in general are scared to follow their heart and soul in any means because it feels like it may throw the responsibility side out of balance and ruin any structure of what they have or stability of what they have. But I'm telling you, me personally, what I found is that it's worth it, because my biggest growth and opportunities, not just in an actual tangible sense, but in internal growth as well, have come from taking those opportunities and doing things I love and follow things. As a tangible example, me wearing my metal band t-shirts around Georgetown. Cool. I had a friend one time who was like, I don't think that's very professional. Because, like, we pay a lot of money to be here, even if you're on scholarship, and, like, you want to make a good impression. And I was like, well, I am who I am. Like, I'm not a slob, but, like, I'm not gonna sit there and dress up in dressy dresses and sweaters all the time, because that's not me, and I don't want to be miserable going to an 8 a.m. class, you know? So I walked around in my freaking Beartooth, or whatever have you, shirts, Slayer, Asking Alexandria, or whatever. And while it may not have been the fully responsible, not that it was really of any freaking consequence, let's be honest, I followed my heart and soul of what I wanted to do. Well, sure enough, one time, for a discussion of my Latin American history class, I walked into the discussion segment, and our professor was sitting there, and I was the first one in there, and he was talking to me. We were just chatting, and he looked at my shirt, and he was like, you're always the one that's wearing those great heavy metal t-shirts at the back of class. And I was like, yes, I am. And he was like, do you like Sepultura? And I was like, I freaking love Sepultura. And he's like, do you want to write your final paper on them? I can do that? Yes, I could, and yes, I did. You never know what'll come from just following your heart and soul. You know what I mean? Even in little instances like that, and that may not be the biggest example of opportunities coming in and things like that, but just being honest with yourself, I think, is the most rewarding thing that I found, even when it's scary, even when it's anxiety-inducing. Even backtracking doesn't stop the progress from happening. If you get a little too scared of following your heart and soul, you get a little too scared of following the impulse, and you kind of wean back into the structure and the scales of responsibility, or just doing what you think you should be doing. Because I should stop saying responsibility, because you can do something impulsively and it still kind of be responsible. It all depends on what it is and there's too many factors. But I think you get what I'm saying, of following the ideal of what you should be doing, like, oh, by 25 you should be married and have like 2.5 kids in a freaking house with a white picket fence, versus what your heart and soul wants you to do. That's the point. There can be a balance for everyone, and there's nothing wrong if you share those ideals with what the general expectation of people is. If that's what you want, if that's your heart and soul, then that's the point. Follow that. And it's never too late to start following your heart and soul, even in little ways, like I said, just wearing the t-shirts every day. And I also don't think that you've necessarily wasted, I don't know, what am I trying to say? I don't think it's a waste of time to follow what you want to do, and I don't think it's a waste of time if you've spent so much time trying to follow the ideals of what's expected of you instead of your heart and soul. I said that earlier, but that's not really what I mean. A mistake a lot of people make in terms of like the balance on the scale and all that is a lot of people see it as black and white, right? One side or the other. Either you're following your heart and soul, doing the impulse, like maybe you're a struggling musician, struggling writer, whatever, or you're being the responsible one. You're following the ideals of what people expect, a stable job, housing, kids, whatever. But it's not that simple. It's not one or the other. You can do both. You can be the more responsible while following the more impulsive side. Because there's nothing wrong with either if that's what you want. Key example, look at all the people who are YouTubers who are making the work to put in to become full-time YouTubers or full-time creators, and yet they still work a day job. That's doing both. That's proof right there. You can do both. Even if you don't have the goal in mind to become, a YouTuber as your full-time job, you just want to make videos, you just want to make art, you just want to make things, but still have a day job, or, stability in other means, that's still following your heart and soul too. It just all depends on what you want, and figuring out what you want is one of the hardest things in life, because it is subject to growth and change just like you, baby. But it is a worthy endeavor. Worthy, because you are worthy. You're a worthy endeavor, and if people don't think that you're worth the time to get to know or discover or, play around with who you are, that's their problem. That's not to say that you should go around being like, if you can't accept me that I'm a perfect person, that's your problem. We're all imperfect. We can all grow and change, and I encourage you to do so. But I also encourage you to take criticism from only people that you trust. It almost sounds like a cliche at this point, but really do get to know yourself. That's the crux of this message. Get to know yourself. Get to know the process of getting to know yourself. Understand that it's a lifelong thing. And not just do it, but I guess if I were to sum it up, just honor yourself that way. Honor what you want, honor your dreams and hopes and your stupid fears. They're not stupid, I'm sorry. Just honor yourself in all the ways that you are, and in all the ways that you might be in the future. No, we're not all perfect. Yes, we're all subject to change. Yes, we're all trying. Be kind to one another. Be kind to yourselves. I'm serious. I'm so serious. It is so easy to be kind to other people and yet exclude ourselves from that list, but it's not worth it because you are the only person that is going to be with you at the end of the day. That's why it's worth getting to know yourself. That's why you're a worthy endeavor. That's why, man. That's just why. All right, enough philosophizing, enough pastoralizing. That is milk, isn't it? Pasteurizing. What's the word I'm looking for? I was gonna sound all academic and use my freaking G-Town education, and my ADHD just came in and was like, you thought. You thought. Are we tired of the sun? Me too. Hold on. I have a freaking bagel packet in my pocket. We're gonna sit in the grass for a minute. I've experienced a lot of good things in life, a lot of mysteries in life, and I can't wait to see how much more good it has in store, which is a humbling thought, honestly. I've experienced a lot of bad, but I've also experienced a lot of good, and I just can't wait to see what other good it has in store. Just like how I've discovered a lot about myself in the past quarter century, which does not get any more real the more that I say it. But also, yes, it does. It makes me feel very old. And I hate the freaking lighting over here. Bro, what happened? Where am I? Who am I? Who are you? We're getting back in the sun. Because this is it. This is it. That's what she said. That's not relevant. I've discovered a lot about myself so far, and I'm looking forward to discovering a lot more, just like all the good things in life. I'm looking forward to seeing just how good life can get, because I have a feeling so much more to experience out there, so much more to take in and do, and I'm excited for it all. Excited for all the good things coming, excited for all the great things I'm going to do, great people I'm going to meet, great places I'm going to go, great food I'm going to eat. Oh my god, I can't wait to listen to all the good music, to all the great music I'm going to hear, all the great books I'm going to read. Shut up. I'm so excited. If there's one thing to get me excited about the future, it's about the potential of all the art that I'm going to encounter. All the people, all the stories that I'm going to hear, all the stories that I'm going to get to live, all the great things that I'm going to get to do. Just harkening back to so much potential, but there really is so much good potential. And I can't wait to just grab it by the horns and have all the good things happen, do all the good things, hopefully do a lot of good along the way. Because always remember, the world isn't kind, but you can be. To yourself, to others. The wind, it's very punk rock. It is. Extremely. And just like in the pit, if someone falls down, including yourself, in life, pick them up. Pick them up, pick them up. Alright, that's gonna be it. I love you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for watching. I got all kinds of chaotic crap like this happening on this channel, so if you want to be a part of it, I'd love to have you along. You can hit that subscribe button down below for vlogs, challenges, whatever I feel like. But right now, thank you for doing whatever it took for you to be here at this moment, to watch this video, to be here with me. Stormy! Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you ain't heard it from anyone else today, I love you. Love and peace. Bye!